welcome to another season of Vikings Vent Line here. Phil Mackey, Manny Hill. You'll also hear Judd Zolgad and Danny Cunningham on this show throughout the year. We've got AJ Fredrickson behind the glass taking your calls. And we'll start with Ben in Florida here in just a second. I saw Linda in Wyoming. Some of our favorite callers are already lining up. But the numbers are 651-646-8255. You can tweet us at Score North. That's SKOR North. And you can also tweet our personal handles. You're Manny Hill 84 on Twitter. I am at Phil Mackey on Twitter. And we have a couple phone lines open right now. So if you want to jump in and offer your thoughts, 651-646-8255. We're streaming live not only on the Score North mobile app and scorenorth.com, but also on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. And you can always find this show on demand on Apple or Spotify or anywhere you find your favorite podcast. The Score North mobile app is a great place to start, and we appreciate it, and it really helps spread the word about Ventline and about the brand new Score North when you give us a 5-star review. But Manny Hill, I don't know if you could have scripted a better week one blueprint and outcome for the Minnesota Vikings. If you go and look at a list of all the things Mike Zimmer wanted to accomplish to make last year's team better into 2019, everything was checked today. Everything. All right. Too focused on the pass. Probably need to run the ball more. Probably need a different offensive line and blocking scheme. So you saw that zone blocking scheme open up hole after hole for Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison. The final tally, 38 carries for the Vikings to just 10 pass attempts for Kirk Cousins. 38 carries for 172 yards. Kirk Cousins, a breezy day at the office, 8 of 10 for 98 yards and a touchdown. The Falcons scored 2 garbage time touchdowns, but the defense absolutely dominated. I don't think you could have scripted a better week one outcome than we saw today.
It was it's the total blueprint. This is what Mike Zimmer wants. This is how Mike Zimmer wants to win football games. This is, in some ways, kind of how they won a lot of their football games in 2017 when Case Keenum was leading this team at quarterback. Is they took care of the football. They didn't turn it over. They ran the football with effectiveness. They got out to leads early, and the defense was suffocating the opposing team. This is exactly carbon copy for a lot of games that we saw them play in 2017 when they were en route to a 13-3 season and an appearance in the NFC Championship game. Now, I'm not ready to say they're going to be 13-3 yet or go to the NFC Championship game yet. It's just one game, but this is the formula. I think if this team is going to have a successful season, this is going to be the formula where you limit the turnovers. They did not turn the ball over at all today. They ran the football with effectiveness. Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison were both fantastic, and the defense was terrific from start to finish, really. And if the Vikings are going to win games, this is how they're going to do it. This is how Mike Zimmer wants to do it. And so far, one game into the season, so good.
I feel like Mike Zimmer probably had dreams. Yes. Of like, all right, in a perfect world, how should week one go for us? Okay, well, something like a 4-to-1 run-pass ratio where we run for almost 200 yards. Like, that would be the first thing. How about Anthony Barr coming off the edge and sacking Matt Ryan on the first play? Like, and then Everson Griffin justifying and validating the contract extension. Just like everything you could possibly have drawn up went well for the Vikings today. 651-646-8255. The Vikings are 1-0. It's Vikings Vent Line here on Score North. And let's start with Ben in Florida. Ben, you're the first call this season, so you better make it memorable. Just don't drop an F-bomb, okay, like Jeff in Texas would.
No, I'm not going to drop an F-bomb, but I will say this, though. What I liked about the offense is that they got a little bit from a lot of people. Kirk Cousins only threw the ball 10 times because he only had to throw the ball 10 times. Alexander Madison had some flash plays. Dalvin Cook, you know what he's going to be doing week in and week out. A little bit of Adam Thielen, a little bit of Stephon Diggs. What I don't think I've talked about enough is they were really good on third down. And Irv Smith is a great blocker. I really love Irv Smith as a blocker. I just want to see him catch a few passes from time to time. The defense, we know what they're going to do, but, we talk about going to the next level. The defense getting 4 turnovers, that's next level to me. Those turnovers change the game, like game-changing, plays that the defense created. So, no, they're not going to be – Kirk Cousins will not every week have to only throw 10 passes. but he was effective. It worked. So let's see what happens. First week, I'm not overreacting to anything, but you can't draw it up any better. That was kind of a steam game. Let out the steam from last year.
Yeah. They've been in Florida. Thank you for calling, and we'll look forward to your calls in future weeks here too. The one thing you could nitpick with Mike Zimmer defenses, Manny, over the past few years, and they've been the number one defense, they've been top 5 defense, they've been collectively, I don't know if you can name over the Mike Zimmer, half decade run here as Vikings head coach, I don't know if you can name a better 5-year stretch of defense played by any other team in the NFL. But the one nitpick would be they just don't turn the ball over a lot. They don't take the ball away a lot from opponents.
Right. Yeah.
So again, it's one game, it's small sample size, but
the
interceptions, fumble,
3 turnovers today by the Falcons. So, I mean, that is something that they have needed to do more of. Even in 2017, when they were almost number 1 across the board on defense, that was kind of something that they didn't really do a whole lot of, is force a lot of turnovers, and they certainly didn't do a lot of that last year. But if they can have a turnover forcing season the way the Chicago Bears did last year, where they forced 35, 36, 37 turnovers, this defense is going to be really, really, really tough to score on. And that is going to be the recipe for how this team is going to win games and win this division. I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see them get off the field on third down. They did that today. And they forced 3 turnovers too. So this was a really, really good performance by this defense today.
651-646-8255. Linda in Wyoming. What's going on, Linda?
Well, I certainly enjoyed this first game more so than I have in the past years. So I really think that bringing in Kubiak and the offensive line coach, is going to help take the pressure off of the Stefanski, kind of basically your rookie offensive coordinator. I agree with what Manny just said. They got off the field on third downs more often. In fact, I think they extended drives more often with their offsides than they did with anything else.
Yeah.
But, they did this against a decent team. It's not like they're playing Miami. And I think their first drive, was the script where you scripted, where they went down and scored right away, is probably one of the best first drives I've seen this team produce. And I think that kind of set the tempo right there. And, I think that you're trying to hide Cousins' weaknesses. And so far, they've done a pretty good job of that. And I think then you're highlighting the strengths of the running backs, and they did a good job of that. And I don't know, maybe when you have time, talk a little bit about what you see in the difference with the defensive scheme this year versus last year, because I thought the defense looked a lot better, a lot crisper this year, other than their offside. So
and I don't know why you have to get on the phone and beg on Miami like that. Miami, they recovered in the second half. They only gave up 17 points in the second half to the Ravens today. Okay, they're trending in the right direction.
Yes, well, I guess that's what happens when I don't watch the scoreboard. So,
Linda, thank you for the call, and we'll probably talk to you again next week. All right.
All right, thanks, gentlemen.
All right, Linda in Wyoming on Vent Line here. So, by the way, the Ravens beat the Dolphins 59-10 today.
It was 42-10 at halftime, I believe.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's keep going here. So we have some open phone lines here. 651-646-8255. Vikings Vent Line on the all-new Score North. Streaming also right now, video streaming on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. Chancey and Fargo, what'd you see today?
Guys, I'll tell you what. I am not rational. I will jump right ahead of the whole season here. After they had the punt block and the Thielen touchdown, I'm online checking plane flight tickets and seeing what the cost is to Miami from Fargo. So, yeah, no, it was fun. It was definitely a nice win to see. And like you guys said, they exactly blow the Gallahorn. But they drew it up right. The one concern I get every time something like this happens is, yes, they didn't need to throw anymore. They certainly won the game handily. I get a little nervous that narratives like this almost feed Mike Zimmer a little too far off the edge where, hey, only 10 passes and we can win that way. I guarantee they don't win another game this year where they only throw 10 passes. Not one. I don't care who they play. It can be that Miami team you guys were talking about. And I just get a little nervous that can kind of reinforce his conservative nature. I think they should play more conservative than they did last year, but there needs to be a happy medium. I wasn't impressed with Green Bay in the opener. I didn't think they looked tough, but you're not winning at Lambeau with 10 passes, and I don't care if they're 80% complete.
Chancey's phone just literally just like bit his head off there. But his point is taken.
Yeah, I think he makes a good point. I think you can't when we say this is the blueprint for how the Vikings are going to win games, I don't think it's implying that this team is going to hope to only have to throw the ball 10 times every single week. I mean, there's going to be times where Kirk Cousins is going to have to throw throw a lot to keep this team in it. I mean, they're not going to jump out 14-0 the first 6-7 minutes into the game every week. And I think Gary Kubiak recognizes that too. Like, Gary Kubiak's a smart guy. This is a guy that has coordinated really good, solid, strong offenses for a number of years. He's a Super Bowl winning head coach. He knows what's going on here, and he knows that there are going to be times where Cousins is going to have to make some plays, and it might be as soon as next week when they go to Lambeau Field. So I think that ultimately what this team wants to do is try and get ahead so that there is not this immense amount of pressure on Kirk Cousins week in and week out, like we saw last year, where they're falling down 7-0 because John DeFilippo wants to come out and throw the ball 15 times in the first quarter, and Cousins is turning it over with fumbles and things like that. Next thing you know, they're down 10-0, 14-0, and then your offense isn't going anywhere because Cousins is not the type of guy that's going to lead you back from being down like that. I think their blueprint is to just get ahead, let the defense settle in, and that's going to be the path for them to getting victories.
And there were games last year, including the game at Lambeau Field in week 2, and that wound up being a 29-29 tie. But Kirk Cousins was incredible in that game. Kirk Cousins was throwing missiles all over the field. He threw for 400 plus yards, a bunch of touchdowns. So I don't think there's any question that sometimes Kirk Cousins will absolutely throw for 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns, and he will throw the ball 30 or 40 or 45 times in a game. But I don't think that should be your plan going into the season. I mean, the first few games out of the gate last year, I just pulled this up, all right? Kirk Cousins, this is unbelievable. Kirk Cousins pass attempts early in the season. Now, obviously, like the Buffalo game, you fell behind early, and so you're going to throw the ball more often. And I get the game flow dictates. You don't go into a game saying, all right, 55 passes, right? Game flow dictates some of this. But the first handful of games for the Vikings last year, these are Kirk Cousins pass attempts. 36, 48, 55, 50, 37, 20, 34, 40, 41. He didn't have a light game in terms of, hey, let's hand the ball off. Let's let the offensive line do some work here. Defense, get off to a good start, until the 9th game of the season, a home game against Detroit, in which he went 18 of 22. Otherwise, like, they were leaning on him for an average of 38, 40 passes a game, and he's good, but he's not one of the 8 to, I don't even think he's one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's fine. He's
middle of the pack.
So if forget about how much money he makes, if you can create a game flow and a blueprint that revolves more around Dalvin Cook and not having Kirk Cousins throw 35 passes, that's where you should start. And if you take a 14-0 lead with that approach, lean on him. There's no reason for Cousins to throw 25 or 30 passes in a game that they jump up 14-0 in the first, 10 minutes or whatever it was today.
I think what we've seen too is that we talked about this at halftime. I think this scheme, this zone blocking scheme that Gary Kubiak has implemented, is as close to perfect as you could ask for a guy like Dalvin Cook and even Alexander Mattison behind him on the depth chart. These guys are one cut backs. All they need is one slight little seam that they can hit the hole right away and shoot the gap and go right away. That's what you want for these guys. It's like a perfect marriage. It's a perfect fit. And if this team can run the ball with Dalvin Cook, set up the play action, or vice versa, the play action can set up the running game, this has a chance to be a really good efficient offense? Is it going to be Jared Goff and the LA Rams, Sean McVay type of offense? Probably not. Is it going to be the greatest show on turf? Probably not. But I think the biggest thing is for this offense to be as efficient as possible. Stay out of the 3rd and 17s. Don't shoot yourself in the foot with holding penalties and false start penalties and put yourself off of schedule. If you can do that, you can run the football with effectiveness. The play action pass will work for Kirk Cousins. That's when Kirk Cousins is at his best, with the play action pass. You can do that. You'll be very efficient offensively. Your defense will continue to play well, and that'll be your formula for winning.
It's Vikings Vent Line from the TCL Studios. I'm Phil Mackey. That's Manny Hill. You're also throughout the season going to hear from Judd Zolgad and Danny Cunningham. And also, we are expanding Vikings Vent Line, which has been now for 6 years on Score North for this year, and then previously 1500 ESPN. We're expanding it for the first time to be a Monday through Friday show as well, with social media interaction. We've got a couple other cool ways we're going to unveil that you can chime in with your thoughts. But tomorrow, 10 o'clock a.m. and every Monday during the Viking season, 10 to noon, Vikings Vent Line on Mondays, and then Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to noon. And you'll find Judd, Danny, Manny as part of that show. 651-646-8255.